We are going to wind the clock back now over 40 years to a rescue mission that made headlines. And it should have done because the press organised it.
It was known as Operation Babylift. It helped evacuate babies and children from war-torn Vietnam. And to this day, those who were rescued are still piecing their lives back together.
The year is 1975 and the Vietnam War is in full force. Thousands of children are being killed, maimed or orphaned. Luckily, Britain is ready to take some in by offering refuge. One of them was Vance, who lives in Northern Ireland. He still remembers being saved from the carnage.
From what condition I was in and what the doctors said, you know, I was near enough in death's door. All my teeth were gone. I had an ulcer, which was very strange for a child. 90% of my hearing was gone, and I was eating off the ground. And so at 18 months, I wouldn't have survived.
And yet, Vance's rescue wasn't organised by any government or even humanitarian organisation. No, it was the result of one tabloid newspaper's desire to create front-page headlines in one of the most controversial publicity stunts ever. It all started in April 1975 when the American government organised Operation Babylift, a huge evacuation of over 2,000 orphaned babies. Having seen the extraordinary pictures and the publicity they generated, Daily Mail editor David English thought his paper should do something similar. Journalist Brian Fremantle was part of the plan.
I thought it was a good idea to see if I could get the children out. When we got the children on the plane, all were malnourished. Most of them had illnesses of various sorts. When we got back to England, 4 of them actually died.
Some saw the airlift as an act of incredible charity. Others, including parts of Fleet Street, considered it a tasteless PR stunt aimed only at boosting circulation.
If getting almost 100 children out of Vietnam, and if we saved their lives, then I think that was a stunt that worked.
PR stunt or not, it was life-changing for Vance. So what happened whenever you first arrived in the country?
Well, when I first arrived, I was in an orphanage in West Sussex, and I was about 18 months when I arrived. And I ended up in Northern Ireland with my adopted parents, Liz and Cyril, and then my 2 brothers, Stephen and David. I had a life that I can't complain about. The McElhinnys were the best adopted parents I could ever have, and Stephen and David were the best brothers I could ever have.
And what age did you first realise what had happened to you?
I was only about 12 years old. Mum and Dad sat me down and said, look, you were brought from Saigon, which was a war-torn country at the time, and you were adopted. Your parents may or may not be alive. I was told pretty straight about it.
But despite the loving care he received from the McElhinney family, deep down Vance struggled with his identity.
From the age of around about 4, even right up to this very day, I have nightmares just about Vietnam. And of course, because it was such a rush job, I had no birth certificate. I didn't know the day I was born. I didn't know even the year, because Mum and Dad were given an adoption certificate, not a birth certificate. So I kind of lost my identity in that sense.
Despite making a life in Northern Ireland for the last 40 years, Vance has always wanted to be reunited with his biological parents. However, with no birth certificate, official adoption papers, or even photos, it made the task of finding them almost impossible. All that changed, however, when via social media, Vance was told about a woman who might be his mum. They met and both agreed to take a DNA test, and it was confirmed. Today, Vance is setting off on the first leg of his journey, which will see him travel over 6,000 miles to Vietnam to meet the woman he now knows to be his mother. And we're going with him.
It'll be a very emotional reunion, and I'm looking forward to the future and what it brings.